Hey everybody, here we go. Javier here, another exciting episode of Javier in the Air. Quite literally in the air. As you saw there, a little fantastic drone footage from Drone Hub. So today's episode is going to be about drones, gardening, and beer. Actually, it's going to be about shaders instead of beer, but I got some great shaders in yesterday, and so I thought I got to at least try one on the show. So, welcome back to everyone. Welcome to any new subscribers that I have. I hope you have been enjoying the show. I hope you will continue to enjoy the show. And as always, for those of you who may be watching that haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Javier in the Air. Right now, I've been getting some feedback, but right now I'm going to stick to YouTube. It's free, and so I'm going to be able to just keep it on there. There have been some other ones. People have been asking me, why don't you get it on iTunes, or why don't you get it on the App Store? Not the App Store, but uh, Google, and why don't you get it on, even though YouTube is Google, but you know what I'm talking about, some of those other podcast places. I can't remember the names of them right now, but I did look up into some. And what we start looking at is actual pay for play type subscriptions. Even when they say they don't charge you, they really don't. One place doesn't charge you. However, they do enforce that they put ads onto your podcast, either in the front or the end. You get to decide, sometimes both. And then they tie into it so that you start wanting to promote ads and stuff on your YouTube or on your podcast page. So then any money you get through there, you start getting the commission. So I'm not really into that yet. I'm not looking to make money at this time. Perhaps somewhere in the future, if this starts really taking off and I start getting some good following, which I have great following right now, but I'm talking about like in the hundreds and thousands of viewers, and this takes off, and then it may be something that I want to do, semi full time, where it also becomes a monetary thing for me. So right now it's not. I just do it because I like to talk to myself in my empty house and reach out to the viewers. And so I'm trying to do that for now. So I'm going to stay on YouTube for now and not go on to the other ones. Okay, so let's a little bit about the drone. I was able to get, as you saw in the footage, I was able to get it going a little bit. As you notice, there was two spots where I actually got it to hover and then go up. So now, as easy as that looks or may sound to some people out there, if you're not used to an X, Y, and Z axis, in other words, if you're having to not only look, go right, go left, and go forward and go back, you also have to worry about going up and going down. So the problem comes in, as you saw there, is that as I start tweaking the altitude so it starts going up, we start hitting these little microcurrents, and the winds kind of buffeting it. Not very strong winds. Yesterday was actually a good day. Today it's a little bit windier, so I may not go out there. But I'm trying to get a little in at least once or twice a week. But you're constantly having to fight this action, so you have to have the stick going. So the stick going in the right hand, which this is mirrored by the way. So in the right hand, and you're constantly having to move it to try to keep it steady. So I was able to get it steady a couple times, and then I was able to go up with it so that you saw a little bit of height on there. So as I work on that, I'll start getting a little bit more familiar with the controls and how the drone moves and that sort of thing. So it's not as easy as it looks. You just have to put some time and effort into it. So you saw as I panicked a couple of times, I cut the altitude, the power, and it would slam the ground and then bounce up as I tried to jack it back up. So I would continue to move on that, and there's a good reason why I'm also doing this. I'm doing this because I want to, but there's a good reason that I'll talk about at the end of the show. So that was drones. Now let's go into gardening. So many times, and I've had them on the show quite a few times. James and Zaida Podlowski, my neighbors 2 doors down, are actually gardening and have their own raised garden beds. Actually, they started well before they're into like their, I think, second season now of growing, if not third. And they're doing very well. And James submitted this video to me the other day and said, "Hey, I like to to show your viewers what I got going on and how it looks." So let's just show this video, and then I'll come back and talk a little bit about my adventures in the garden. So here we go.
Hi there, this is Farmer James, or as Javier often says, it's the neighbors 2 doors down. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about our backyard garden that Zaida and I have, and then we're going to be kind of comparing notes later on with stuff that Javier grows. So we're going to start out today looking at spinach and actually trimming up some leaves off of our kale plants. So, the first thing you want to do once you start getting ready to trim off some of your kale leaves is you actually want to start at the bottom leaves and you want to cut them off with a pair of scissors. And you just want to sort of work your way up to the top, but you want to leave the top ones because those will actually continue to fill out. So I'm going to cut off a few of these, and then we'll put those over here. And then we'll go over to the second part of our garden, which is our lettuce. So we have some loose leaf lettuce here and here. You can see this is past picking time because it's starting to seed out. And then we have some romaine lettuce here coming, that's up and ready to go. And then I've got, if you can zoom in over here, Zaida, we've got our carrots that are coming up in this area, and we've also got some bits of chives that are also here, that are coming up right in here. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to come over and we're going to take out this big lettuce plant because it is ready to stuff to come off of that thing. So let me just cut it off here. Okay. And you want to put that over there, and we'll get that peeled off, cleaned up with the kale. Now, if you come over here, we've got our tomato plant, and then we actually have a bloom on our tomatillo, and then these are all beets back here. And I also have some onions coming up intermittently. So, and that's pretty much our garden at this point. So as we plant more stuff, we'll share it with Javier and his podcast. So back to interview Jav. Thank you.
Hey, great. Thanks, Farmer James and Farmer Zaida, who was doing the camera work for Farmer James there. So fantastic. And if you notice, the kale and the romaine lettuce I have were huge. And that's not a trick of the camera. Those are huge. So they are doing fantastic work over there, 2 doors down, as he liked to say. And so keep up the good work, James and Zaida. You're doing great. We will start comparing notes once I start getting something worth showing on the podcast, and we'll talk to others. If you are growing anything in your neighborhood, in your backyard, you have a personal, maybe a community farm that you go to and plant, or you just plant something in your backyard and you want to be on the podcast, by all means, just reach out and contact me. You can send me some video, or I can go out there, masked up, of course, go out there and I can get an interview going and some video of that, and then we can talk about eventually maybe doing an exchange. So, want to mention about the gardening. So, for myself, last week I mentioned I got the beets and onions and Brussels sprouts going. A little bit of sprouts, but nothing I want to show yet on the podcast. However, this weekend I did plant in my fruit raised garden bed, but I only planted one fruit right now, and actually they are called pink bananas. Yes, they are actually bananas, and they are actually pink. Some people raise these as just ornamental plants, but the bananas are edible. And also, I want to make it clear because I had some people ask me this week. I thought grew on trees. Bananas grow on trees. The answer is no. Bananas do not grow on trees. Bananas are actually one of the largest plants that can be grown. Not just not just commercially, but I mean they can be huge, and they are a plant. They are not a tree. They are a plant. So that being said, I should be able to get something going here. The weather is maybe a tad too hot in the summer for it, but once it gets fully established, it should be okay. I had to soak the seeds for 36 hours. You start off with like 116-degree water, and you put that in a canteen or something that's insulated so that the heat will last as long as it can. And then you put the seeds in there and you let them soak for about 36 hours. After the 36 hours, you then go and plant them. Some people also talk about growing them in your house first and getting them going that way, and then you transplant into your yard. I didn't do that. I thought it would be, let's give it a shot with this great Texas weather that we have. Of course, barring the snowmageddon we had a couple weeks ago. But overall, it's not a bad temperature-wise, humidity-wise right now. So it might be worth getting it going. And so I said, why not? I was going to do that for the strawberries that I was going to plant, alpine strawberries. But it turns out they do highly recommend that you try to get them going in pots first inside your house. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out to my local, gardening center and pick up some what they call biodegradable pots, which are basically just you know, hard pressed dirt or something like that. Maybe I'll show a little video of what they are, and put the seeds in there and get them going inside the house first. You want to give them about 60 to 80%. I think it's 70 to 80% sunlight per day, as much as you can. Keep them watered. Keep it going. Have them inside the house, since you can really get it established. And then you plant them into the ground. Now, once you plant them into the ground, you should be able to keep them uh, so that you don't have to do this again the following year. I believe you are able to just reuse, not reuse, but the plants will grow the next year because you're harvesting the fruit, you're not harvesting the plant itself. So I'm going to try to get the strawberries going, and then I have something else that's winging its way to me that I'm going to try to get going as well. I know it's ambitious of me for the first time farming, but I really always thought about doing this, and it really reminds me of my grandmother Trevino, who was always out in the yard working on her elephant's ears and stuff like that. She never did any vegetable or fruit growing, at least not in the yards while I was around. But she did always she had a fantastic green thumb, and I'm hoping to continue that in some way, shape, or form by doing this as kind of an homage to her and all other suburban farmers out there. If you have any stories about your family or friends, mother or grandmother that used to do this, send it my way. I'd love to hear about it. So that's the gardening. So we'll see how we do with all that. And so I have a couple of extra things added to the show. I didn't put on the title because I kind of ran out of room. But so as the gardening goes, we'll continue to go with that. I will keep hearing from James and Zaida. Anybody else wants to add their 2 cents about gardening tips and tricks to do in suburbia? Please let me know. And like I said, reach out to me, and I will definitely like to get you on the show. with what you may be growing. Of course, let's keep to legal substances. I don't think I don't think it'd be really good for me to post videos of people growing, growing the weed or growing, poppy seeds in their local, backyard. Let's keep it to stuff that people are going to not come knocking on my door about, i.e. the popo. So, all right. So now we're gonna do. So we got about drones. We got about gardening. Now, what I want to talk a little bit about is that as I continue to redesign my backyard, I want to talk a little bit about lighting. So depending on where you live and depending on what you like, lighting can be a really cool influence into your yards, whether it be front or backyard. I'm going to be talking specifically about my backyard because I have more room to play around with. So I was able to get some lights going in my backyard. I had some already going from basically from the outlet by the house up and over to the crepe myrtles that I have right along the border of my deck. So they're not on 24/7. They're really only on when I have friends and family over and we're grilling out back and it gets dark. So it's not a huge drain on me financially. I don't have 10,000 lights up. These are actually a couple of the sets are commercial grade Einstein bulbs that you'll see around town, around your town, around restaurants that have patios and outdoor seating and that sort of thing. And then I have another string that I put along the side of the house. So I'm going to show you a little video of that just for you to get a little familiar with what I'm doing. I love to see how you're doing it in your backyard. Any feedback that you have for me about it, please let me know. So let's go over to lighting hub. I don't think I say anything, but let's see what I did. So here I am in my backyard. I just put up some new lights. As you can see, lights up the entire this side of the house, which I love. And then I ran them along the siding all the way around to this side of the house, which it also lights up, which I love. And then I tied it around that tree and around those trees and around all that. And it's a great mood out tonight. It's fantastic. So you'll see that I actually did talk quite a bit actually. The moon was fantastic. That was Friday, this past Friday, the 26th. And so the moon was just about full. And you can see it really fantastic from my backyard. It's a great shot, especially this time of year when the trees have not fully fleshed out all the leaves and everything. So you can see that just a straight shot there. And it pretty much goes like this is my house. The moon pretty much goes over my backyard. So I am almost on clear days. If it was a clear day continually throughout the year, I'd be able to see the moon as it progresses across my backyard. So it's really great, and I can move around when there's a lot of leaves out there during the spring and summer, and I'm able to see quite a bit. So it's fantastic. It's a really great thing. So not only the lighting of the moon, which by the way, when it's pitch dark and that full moon is out there, it lights up the yard pretty good, especially now that I cut a lot of the junk trees away. But with the lighting you see, that was about 4 sets of lights. You can get these lights at your local home store, like Lowe's, Home Depot, stuff like that. Sometimes even Costco or Sam's may offer it. You want to try to get the heavy duty ones that are like commercial grade, which cost a little bit more, but it's worth it because they can hold up quite well in adverse conditions, and they're heavier so they don't move around as much. And the bulbs are also pretty well guarded in the socket, so you don't have water leaching in there. Plus, I mean, they should be hanging upside down anyway, so you shouldn't get a lot of water in there. So I think all that lighting there probably overall will probably run you between $150 to $200. So if you're working on a budget like I was, you can just buy a set every now and then add to your collection as it goes on. Now, I didn't show much about the fence line, but you saw on one side of the house, my neighbor is putting up a rather extensive fence, which is actually pretty nice. And so it's going to make it nice on my side. So I might have some lights later on that I'll be able to just hook onto there and using the spaces in between the boards to hook on there, and they will be solar. I like to have soft lighting when it comes to being outside. As you notice in the video, as I was panning around, there are floodlights out there, so I do have your regular standard lights out there when necessary, doing any work out back at night, or I'm really trying to get into that back part of the garden and of the yard, and I want to make sure that I'm seeing everything. So but I'm keeping it as tight as possible on there. And I had some people over COVID bubble yesterday for a grill out that lasted into the evening. And a couple of the people remarked that it turned out real nice. Thank you. And also how the subtle lighting really makes quite a bit of really nice ambiance for the back deck, which is what I was looking for. I like light. I like to be able to see things when I'm moving around, and I like to be able to see the people that I'm talking to most times. So the lighting itself is not too bright that you can't stare at the bulb if you really want to, but it's not that bright. But it's bright enough that you can see things around because as you saw in the video, that you can see everything in the yard. Now, also, I have to say the camera is really good on my phone as they are nowadays for these phones. So it's really pulling in that light. So it may be just a tad shade or two darker than what you see in the video, which is actually more perfect. So it works out really nice. And like I said, I only run it when I have friends or family, or I'm going to sit out back and I want to see something. A lot of times I'll just sit out back in the evening on the weekend if I'm home alone and just check out the night sky, especially this time of year. And now that I have garden beds, I'm going to be doing that quite a bit more. So let me take a quick break and let me get situated for the shiders. Yes, I call it shiders. And we'll see which one I choose, and we'll take a look at the beer. We'll wrap up the show, and then I have some exciting news going forward for April and May. I think everyone will be happy about. I know people have been looking forward to it, and then just all sorts of other housekeeping things that I do. So grab yourself a beer, grab yourself a drink. I'll be right back. For you guys, it's going to be split second, but for me, it'll be a couple minutes. So I'll be right back. And I'm back. I know for you it was just like that, but I had to get ready for some of this. So I want to apologize to my friends out at the boutique. I happened to be at HEB yesterday, and normally I don't try to pick up anything alcoholic-wise at HEB anymore. Though they are getting a wider selection, they just don't have the selection that boutique does. So now, having said that, again, I apologize because I happened to be there like 7 o'clock yesterday morning, and I noticed that they had a bunch of ciders of flavors that I hadn't seen before at the boutique. And I know I haven't been out there, guys. I'm sorry. I'll try to get out there as soon as I can. It's been a couple weeks, and so I thought, why not? I'm not going to be able to hit the boutique on my, by today's podcast. So I thought I would just grab it and go. And I do have some people that I work out with that are partial to shiders as I like to call them, and so I grabbed it. So this is coming from the Bishop Cider Company out of Dallas, Texas. So here in the great state of Texas, this is their apple pineapple, pineapple apples pine. It says, as you see, there's the Bishop. I'll see if I can get the good angle on there. Bishop pineapple, and then it also says on the side, the apple cider you'll pine for, pun intended. And also that it's all natural, gluten free, vegan friendly, no sugar added, no fruit essences, nothing you can't pronounce, and only things you want. So let's hold them to that. This is, see if I can get the right angle on that. It looks like it's I want to say 6%. I hope, or maybe 5%. I'll see if I can get that, find the right percentage. Bishop Cider Company, if you happen to be watch any of this, send me a message. I'd love to have you on the show, and then we can talk more about the different types of ciders that you have. Now, I know I just visited your site. You have a lot of ciders that I haven't even seen anywhere. I have seen the pecan pie. We've talked about the dark side a lot, which is one of my favorite ciders that I've ever had. It's great. I've done the review. I did the review last year on it. I think I've even talked about it again this year. And so it's a fantastic shader. So if you haven't tried it, give it a shot. I know that Scott out at the boutique keeps the dark shade around because it's a fan favorite. And so I just went to Bishop's site, and it looks like they have a bunch. They have a Texas tea, they have a blood orange, they have something called Maine Squeeze lemonade. Something they have their tiger's blood, and then like a peach tea. So I'm not going to tell you the flavors that I have. The other flavors that I actually have, I did get the dark side, but we won't be reviewing that here since I've done it too many times. But I wanted to get their apple pineapple one done because I haven't tried it before. So I thought I'd give it a shot. So I'm going to go ahead and open this puppy up. And I'm going to be pouring it into my glass here. Oh, it seems to be a nice uh, pineapple pineapple orangish color. Pineapple being yellow, of course, not that pineapple is actually a color, but a nice orangish color. See if you can see. It looks a little bit darker on the camera here. See if I can get more of a light behind it. It actually looks more like a pineapple juice in the camera than it actually does live with me actually viewing it here with my peepers. It definitely has a orange yellow look to it. Definitely a cider type aroma to it, as in the fruit notes are coming through first. With a little bit of that, this is a cider. This is not just juice smell aroma that you get. I think a lot of people will know what I'm talking about. I don't know an actual name to it. I'm not a brewer. I'm not a ciderer. I'm just a drinker. So forgive me if some of the terms I use are not actual technical terms. But it's got a good smell to it. So let's give it a shot. Wow, this is good. This is good. It's got just it's more predominantly apple. I have to say that now. Apple, as some of you may know, apple is a primary puncher. It anything that has apple in it, you more than likely will taste that apple first. It's a very forefront taste, and you will get that taste first. But as you start drinking it, and you know it's going down your gullet, you're gonna get that slightly at the end taste of pineapple. And if you ever had pineapple and apple juice together or anyway, you'll like it. So there's not a real heavy alcoholic taste to it. It's not super sweet. For those of you that may be against some of the shiders because you think they're too sweet, this isn't bad. It's definitely sweeter than beer. I mean, it's a cider, so get over yourselves. It's definitely going to be a sweeter thing than beer. But if you like cider, then this is actually a little bit better than you would think as far as the sweetness goes. It's not too sweet. It's kind of a middle sweetness to it. It's not like overly bitter or anything by that matter. So it's definitely good. I'd say I would have it like on a day like this where it's a nice day or you're doing some day drinking. And maybe you don't want to do beer that day. Maybe you want to mix it up and say, hey, I've drunk enough this weekend already of beer. Let me try something different. Now, I know some of you may be opposed to that idea, but some of you may not, and you may want to try that. Some people like to have mimosas on a Sunday morning. I can actually see this drinking in lieu of a mimosa if they actually had it at a restaurant or something like that. I could see myself having this with a brunch on a Sunday. I don't think you want to pair it with something like pancakes or anything like that because you're gonna already have that sweetness. But maybe something like scrambled eggs and sausage, maybe a breakfast taco, something that's more savory than sweet, and I think this will pair nice with it. So, if you have a chance, go out and visit the Bishop Cider Company out in Dallas. If you don't, pick up your local ciders. You can get them at other places, but if you're in the Cedar Park area, definitely go by the boutique and say hi to Scott and Jana, and ask them for the dark shade. They definitely have that there. They may have some of these other flavors. I know I picked up the pecan pie there before, so give it a shot. Go out there, see them, pick up some cider. Let me know what you think about it, specifically this apple pineapple. This is the first time I've had it. I will continue to drink it, and so I'm going to give this one. I think I'm going to give it an 8.25. So 8.25 thumbs. We broke the whole a half point rule a while back during one of the tasting panels. So I'm going to give this an 8.25 thumbs up. So I hope you this is the show. That's it. So I hope you enjoyed it. I know I have. As always, I enjoy sitting here and talking about myself and things that I do, but also hoping that it impacts other people as well. I want to thank the Pavlovskis for submitting their gardening video. I look forward to seeing what else they're going to get out of their garden. I look forward to see what I get out of my garden. And like I said, if anybody has any raised gardens or any gardening out there and they want to give some tips and tricks or they want to show what they've been harvesting, send it my way. Let me know. If you want to be on the show, let me know. And it doesn't even have to be gardening. Anything that you're passionate about that has to do just about anything, as long as it's not religion or politics, I will get you on the show. We will talk about it. I will try to be as informed as possible, but I will let you lead on whatever you want to be passionate about. So I believe last week I talked about pickleball and tried to get some people on to show me how to do pickleball. Unfortunately, due to still COVID being out there, the person that I was going to be trained by wanted to hold off until they were able to get their first dose in of the vaccine. I totally agree. Which, by the way, I got my first dose in. I don't know if those of you who follow me on Facebook may have seen the picture already. I got Pfizer. I was fine. The arm hurt a little bit for a day or so, but then pain went away. I didn't get any fever. The needles were not overly big. If you've gotten a flu vaccine before, this is just a vaccine shot. It is not anything to be worried about. Unless you've had adverse reactions to vaccines before, this should be a dawdle. This should be nothing for you. I highly recommend that you get it done. Some of you know out there, you know who I'm talking about. I totally recommend you get it done as soon as you can. My understanding is Monday it is opening up to all adults. So as of today, so like less than 8 hours away, all of a sudden it's going to be everybody up for grabs. So if you haven't already scheduled an appointment and you want to get the vaccine, which again I highly recommend that you get it, then I would start looking now because it's going to be a cluster to try to get an appointment, especially for your first dose. I'm already scheduled to get my second dose, so I am not overly concerned about there being an issue for me. But for everybody else, please try to schedule accordingly. So, exciting news. I wanted to save this bit for the last. So I want to give a shout out to Crazy Stacy out there, and Jenna and Marla. Those are the three ladies that I met yesterday that were having a planning session. So I talked about, and you saw an interview with me and Crazy Stacy about the Be the Light craft fair. Well, that craft fair got canceled because of the COVID thing that was going on, and there was a return and a spike of COVID cases in the Austin and surrounding area. So it's back. It's gonna be in May sometime. As soon as I know a date, you're gonna know the date. If you are a local business that does crafts and you want to be in the fair, let me know and I'll get you into the right people's hands and you can register for that. It's going to be right down the street from me here at Anderson Mill Park West, or Anderson Mill West Park. I don't know which way you go with that. So right here, there's going to be a great amount of crafts out there. These ladies do fantastic jobs with their crafts. So if you have a craft and you want to get a booth, contact me and I will put you in the right contact you with the right contacts. If you are a food trailer and you want to get out there, we are looking for one or two food trailers. Let me know, and I can put you in the right put you with the right contact as well. But for those of you who are interested in just going to the craft fair, I believe we're gonna try to have music out there. We will have maybe some little games going on. The crafts are fantastic. You saw, if you haven't, go back through my archives and you will see the remote craft fair that we did. And I went out to a couple people's homes and you saw some of the things going on out there. Stay tuned. I will get you the information. This is a go. Right now, we are 95% certain that this is not going to be canceled. So it will be sometime in the hopefully in the first half of May. They're getting all that squared away. So be on the lookout. More information will come your way. Again, if you're interested in having a booth, let me know. If you're interested and you have a food trailer and you'd like to set up shop there for about 4 or 5 hours, let me know as well, and I will get you in the right hands. For those of you that have watched my show and maybe wanted or have started doing your own crafts and you want to try to build your business, let me know. We'd love to have you out there. So I'm going to end on that note, and I hope everybody has a good week. I hope you're getting your shots, and I hope life is returning to somewhat normalcy. We're not back to 100% normal. That's going to be a while. But I hope you have a great week. And if anybody out there is willing to show me a little bit of the pickleball for next week's podcast, let me know. I'll talk to y'all again soon. Have a good week. Bye now.
Is it too much to ask? Is it too much to wonder? I'll be here.